Hello everybody, how are you going today? Today we'll be going through the top 20 players of the Birmingham Major. This video will be based off statistics and overall performances, so for example, players who performed better and got a better team result will probably be higher than players that didn't perform well and a team did not perform well as well. So let's get started. Starting off at number 20, we've got Abjack. He placed 9th from 11. It wasn't the best performance for Abjack and his team he would probably wish for. He didn't play too bad, scoring 14 goals throughout the entire major, 10 assists and 38 saves, so not so bad. As you can see there, he averaged about 0.64 goals per game, 0.45 assists per game, and 1.7 saves per game, with about 362.86 score per game. Overall, I wouldn't say it was a terrible major for Dignitas. It just wasn't what they were hoping for. As you can see, they placed 9th for 11th. Monkey Moon. Once again, it wasn't the best split realistically for Monkey Moon. He did have that tweet saying he'll prove he is one of the best players and he'll show his haters why he's the best. I think he did it right. I mean, he was really just playing that second man for Zen, realistically. I would say, 14 goals, 13 assists, 39 saves. He was pretty, I would say he's pretty average for Monkey Moon. I feel like he could have done a lot better. Like I said, he did very good as that second man role. But yeah, he wasn't his best split, and this is why I put him at 19th. His teammate, Exotic. Once again, I think Exotic is in the same boat as Monkey Moon here. They placed 5th and 6th, 19 goals, 13 assists and 35 saves, so not too bad. I think he just beat out Monkey Moon based on his stats, I would say, more over than anything. Also, shout out to Direct for providing the stats so I can do this. But yeah, decent. It's an average performance from Exotic. Especially from his Worlds performance last year, getting MVP. Moving on to Drafinho, which I would say Furia had a very good split, but out of the 3 players lost, Yan and Drafinho definitely had was the worst player of those 3. I wouldn't say he was the worst, but he wasn't the best. 21 goals, 12 assists and 58 saves. Not too bad. Good stats. He was averaging about 2 saves a game, about almost 0.68 goals per game and 0.4 goals. And his score was pretty good, to be fair. Once again, he was just really playing that third man role, as I said, with Monkey Moon, but he was playing it better in my opinion than Monkey Moon and Exotic. So that's why I've got him. Furia had a very good, as a team, Furia had a very good major, I would say. They were in it to win it, I would say. They were one of those teams I thought personally would win the major. They had a chance to win it between NRG, NRG, Furia, Casey, Team Vitality, those 4 teams, Team Falcons pretty much. Furia was one of those teams for me, but they did end up losing to KC 4-0, so they got swept. And I think Drafinho wasn't the best in that series either. Moving on to 16th, we have LJ. I feel I may have put LJ a bit low here, but as you can see, he scored 23 goals. He was doing his job. He was putting the ball in there as well, I would say. And the ultimate shocked a lot of people, I would say. Between him and First Call, I would say they were the best 2 players on the ultimates. But I just think that in that last series against KC Cup, you could definitely see he dropped off. He wasn't really playing his best in that last series, and they ended up getting swept because of that. Besides that, pretty good stats. 23 goals, 7 assists, 57 saves. Moving on to 15th, I have Archie, the only GK player I have on this list. I think he played very well. Scored 23 goals, 10 assists, and 44 saves. He was all over the pitch, I would say, for GK. Whenever something went well for them, he was the main reason for that. They didn't do too bad. I was expecting them to finish around this spot, 7th to 8th. I think that was a decent result. At one point, I did think they might go further after going out in the Swiss pretty 3-1. I'm pretty sure it was. Oh no, they went out round 5. So they looked good in round 5, but you know, he averaged a goal a game, which is pretty good for a player in terms of rec league. But yeah, he was definitely the best player in GK. Okay, moving on. From Twisted Minds, I got Atomic, not to be confused with Atomic from NRG, but Atomic, I think he played very well as well. You know, played 7th to 8. I would say he was definitely not the worst player in this. I think Rise didn't play his best in this major, and why he's not on this list. I would say Atomic played very well. You know, at one point I thought they were going to make it and beat Vitality, but you know, it ended up not happening, going 4-3 to Vitality. Scored a lot of goals. Him and Nupo, I would say, were really good this major. I think Nupo was very good. 23 assists, 42 saves, very good statistically. Goals per game, you know, he almost averaged a goal a game. Same with assists a game, so he was almost averaging a goal and assist per game. Most of that was because Nupo and him were just popping off. Moving on, NRG, Daniel, you know, I wouldn't say it was his best major for Daniel. At the end of the day, you know, he only scored 11 goals, assisted 18, saved a decent amount of saves, but yeah, it wasn't his best. I would say it was an average major for Daniel, above average major. I mean, in terms of playing, his team did very well. You know, Beast Mode and Atomic were very well, and you'll see where I put them later in the list. But Daniel, moving on to number 12, Nupo. He peaked. I can't lie. He peaked this major. It was crazy. Especially in that series against Vitality, him and Zen were scoring some crazy goals. Especially the double tap sealing off the wall over Zen was pretty good. But yeah, play 7th, 8th. That's once again I said about Twisted Minds. They had very good. But he was their best player in my opinion. You know, 26 goals. He was averaging a goal a game, which is just crazy to think. This is his second major after the Worlds last year, and he was just putting stupid numbers up on the board. 17 assists, 29 saves. Pretty much anything that was going good for Twisted Mind was because of this man, because of Nupo. He was going crazy. Number 11, I would say his counterpart, Zen. You know, Zen pretty much was the only reason why Vitality played as well. You know, he was scoring goals for fun. The goals he was scoring were stupid, man, like absolute craziness. Some of those goals, especially in that Twisted Mind series, reminds me of like just the crazy shots he was scoring. It was crazy when you think about it. Like some of those goals, and like I said, he's putting 8-4 goals a game, very well. He had the highest score per game in the entire tournament. So you know he was putting crazy stats up. Just a bit disappointed with this team Vitality because I thought they were going to be going into the top 4 at least when how they were moving on. The first one from Team Falcons, Kaliers, one of the first of the twins. You know, he played pretty good. You know, I wouldn't say it was his best major, especially ever since the FIFA E. He played very well in FIFA E. But 28 goals, 11 assists, and 46 saves. You know, pretty good, pretty great statistics there. He averaged almost a goal per game. It's just the Falcons didn't play as good as I thought they were going to play. I thought this team was guaranteed at least top 4. You know, I thought they were going to be either finish semi-finals and maybe lose to KC, NRG, or one of those teams, or they would have made it to the final and won it. They were one of those teams I had faith in. And Clears, I wouldn't say it was his greatest land. It was good. I would say it was good, but for me, he was the second best player in his team. I don't know. TRK didn't play his best either. TRK didn't play his best, and that's probably why they didn't finish as their best result coming off FIFA E. But moving on, the other twin, Rawas, you know, he played very great. He played really good this tournament. It's just unfortunate that his team didn't play as good as he did. 5th and 6th, 29 goals, tied the most goals in the entire tournament with 29, tied with someone later on the list. Assists 23. You know, that is crazy when you think about it. How are you scoring 29 goals in a tournament and then you're providing 23 assists on top of 51 saves? You know, he was averaging a goal a game. Moving on, you got Atomic. 3rd to 4th, you know, I would say Atomic played good. You know, he had decent stats. He was definitely the second best player for NRG, I would say. Between him and Beast Mode, they were the reason why they got to this position. Those two were playing not their best, but they were playing very well. It's just sad to see that Daniel wasn't keeping up with them. But yeah, 0.64 goals per game, 0.39 assists per game, almost 2 saves per game. His score was, I know his score doesn't reflect, for me his score wasn't reflecting how he's playing in the end. Like, he played very, very well in series that mattered. Him and Beast Mode were playing very, very well. It's just the stats don't reflect it. But 3rd and 4th, moving on. And his teammate, Beast Mode. Beast Mode was just hit Beast Mode in this land. You know, Beast Mode always plays like this, where he'll play his best, win in game, and just he'll always play his best. I wouldn't say it was his greatest land this major, but still very, very good. You know, putting up 22 goals, 16 assists, and 56 saves. He was playing very, very well. 6th, Lost played insane. I can't lie. Lost, this is his best ever land I've ever watched so far since he's been playing with Furia. 23 goals, 13 assists, 84 saves. Bro was saving Furia on so many occasions where he was getting that big save to stop any attack. He averaged 0.65 goals per game and almost assists per game on top of almost 3 saves per game. 3 saves per game is crazy. Look at his points per game. 450 points per game about. Crazy performance. Him and Yan were playing very, very well. This is what I actually thought Furia were going to win until that semi-final where they dropped to KC, but KC were looking crazy to be fair. But Lost, very, very good from him. Moving on. The first player from KC, Ato. He plays first. KC were crazy this tournament. You know, between him, Fatira, and Durali, they were playing crazy, man. It was just, it was hard to watch. You know, especially watching from an OC's point of view. We always won 3-2 and then dropped the game at the end. But Atto was really, really good this tournament and was one of the reasons why they're moving on. Again, Fatira, like I was saying, Fatira, he was giving cookies to Drali, man. The amount of times I saw Fatira just pass the ball to Drali and Drali just smashed home. It was crazy. 0.5 goals per game, 0.6 goals assists per game, and almost 2 saves per game on decent score per game as well. He played decent, very, very good actually. I don't know why I said decent. Very, very good. It's just he didn't have to play his best because there was one man who just played absolute crazy. That guy was insane. But we'll see him later in the list. Moving on, the final player from Furia, Jans. Jans was playing crazy this tournament. He always finds a way to play his best in and out of every major. 20 goals, 28 assists, and 68 saves. He was just all over the pitch for Furia. Him and Lost were going crazy. And I wouldn't say Jufinho played bad, but if Jufinho was playing his best, oh my god, this team could have won the entire event. I'll be honest. 0.65 goals per game, almost an assist a game, almost 2 saves per game, which is crazy, and his score was pretty high as well with 4.4. His stats were pretty good, and I would say it's just very, very good from Jans. This was probably one of his best, if not his best major he's ever played. Moving on, first killer. I can't lie, him and LJ dragged Ultimates over the line to get 2nd place. I can't lie. 21 goals, 22 assists, 64 saves. He was very, very good. He almost averaged a goal a game and assist per game on 2 saves per game and his score was very, very good. Once again, I was looking forward to the final. I thought they were doing very, very well that first game when they went to OT, but it's just KC, man. It's just so. Moving on. Number 1, Drali. Has to be Drali, bro. This guy was insane, man. The amount of stuff I saw in that game, bro, the entire tournament, he was absolute disgusting, man. Placed first, won the MVP, almost 30 goals with 15 assists. He was all over the stat sheet. He's put almost 1 goal per game on top of like almost 0.6 assists, almost averaged 2 saves per game. His score was crazy, man. He just was playing his best, and for me, he's been the best player in the world for the last, last 2 splits. Like, ever since that Worlds when he won with BDS, he's just been the best player, man. Like, it's just been crazy, and you can tell. Like, he went to KC after leaving BDS, and he has looked insane. I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps this up. He has this mentality that I like. Like, he's just a cold-blooded. Well, Hope you guys liked this video. Please comment your opinions below in the comments. You know, I would love to see what you guys think was about my list and what you guys would rank these players. Instead, your top 20 would be good to see. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe. Goodbye.